Hey, I'm Dr. Amber Belt, and today I wanted to speak with you briefly about stress. So, if you hadn't noticed, a lot of us have been feeling a lot of stress over the past, 18 months or so. And I have written in my patient charts, I have written under extreme stress for so many patients because they are under extreme stress. And I'm certainly not immune to stress myself. In fact, I am really, really good at stress, like amazingly good at stress. And I have to work really, really hard to not let stress like engulf my being. And the same goes with fear. Fear is often the other side of the coin to stress. And so for a lot of us, it's a lot of work to not let stress and fear take over our being. Now, I do think that stress and fear can be catalysts to spark positive action and positive change. But if they hang around too long, you're really giving up your power to those very things that you are stressed out about or fearful of. And for me, I want to be in control of my own self. I don't want to let stress or fear control my actions. And with stress, stress can suppress your immunity across the board, so it can negatively impact your immune system, and none of us need that right now, right? And fear, interestingly enough, can cause us to catastrophize events in our minds, and it can also cause us to make poor decisions. So prolonged fear can do that, and none of us need that right now either. It makes life a lot more difficult. So does this sound familiar? I mean, I think, based on my interactions in the world and with patients, everyone's under a lot of stress and feeling a lot of fear right now. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that we need to acknowledge that managing stress and fear takes effort on our part. And for most of us, it's going to take an effort every single day to be able to manage stress and fear, because there's really no magic pill that's going to give us long-lasting relief from stress and from fear. It's up to us. So what I wanted to do today is share my top 5 strategies that I use for myself to help modulate my stress response and my fear response. So we're going to get started. Let me get a sip. So the number one thing that I do, and I often advise my patients to do, is to turn off the news. The news oftentimes will reframe the same events and present the same information over and over and over again. And honestly, what I've seen in the media is they're not super focused on bringing truth to any of us. So there's often not a lot of integrity there. So the goal is to keep you engaged and to keep you, scrolling and looking at a screen. And what happens a lot of times is, when people look at the news, those buttons of fear and stress get pushed, and it keeps us engaged, and it keeps us in that cycle of fear and stress, which is not healthy. So turn off the news. That's my number one thing. Number 2 is get outside. Connection with nature is really grounding, and it brings me, at least, to a much truer reality than what I'm going to get out of life when I'm looking at a screen. So, and also for me, nature really brings me to a place where I'm reminded of what's actually important to me, not getting bombarded with things that should be important to me. It really grounds me and helps me realize what is actually important. So being in nature for me is a really huge and important gift. Number 3, exercise for me, particularly intense exercise, is a great stress outlet for me. Huge stress reliever. It has been my whole life. Exercise, a lot of times, if I'm really in my head about something, I can, do some exercise. And for me, intense exercise works better for this, but it gets me out of my head and into my body. And that sometimes that's exactly what I need. All right. So number 4, meditation and breathing. Um, Over the past several months, I've become a regular meditator, which I've never really done that before, at least not regularly. And I also use the meditation and different breathing strategies to calm my nervous system and to modulate that stress response. And for me, I mean, I generally keep myself pretty busy, but meditating for 5 to 10 minutes a day is pretty easy to incorporate. A lot of times I'll meditate in the morning because it sets up my day better, and it's my only alone time. So as long as I can avoid the dogs, it's good. and and box breathing is a breathing technique that I use often that's pretty easy to implement. And you can look up meditation and box breathing on the internet for some tips. So both of those strategies, meditation and different breathing techniques, are really teaching me to calm my mind and to clear my head when those big moments of stress do pop up. And I need a little space sometimes between the stressor and my response to the stressful thing. And meditation and breathing can give me that space, and that's been really important. Okay, and last but and least, I think, are supplements. I only use supplements if I need them, and I don't need them super often, but I'm really grateful they're there when I do need them. I have a few gentle interventions that are my go-tos, as far as if I'm having more anxiety and like a big stress reaction. So I'll use glycine and L-theanine, and those are both amino acids that tend to be on the more relaxing side. And then I'll also use a tincture that's a combination of oat straw and skullcap. And that, for me, I don't know, for my physiology, it works really well to really kind of dial things back. And then I can implement some of these other things better to give me that space I need to not be super stressed out. Now, those are my go-tos with stress. If you have go-tos for your stress, because everyone has different things that work for them, I'd love to hear about them. I'm going to end this live in just a minute here, but but in the comments, put down if you have things that are your go-tos for stress, let me know. All right, I hope you'll have a good weekend, and I hope it's stress-free. Bye.